this. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining our session. Welcome you all. So today, so far we have two presenters here in this our session right now, Dr. Sri Nuryanti and also Nar Bahadur Saud. So we'll start from Dr. Sri and then we'll move towards Nar Bahadur Saud. After presentation, then we'll receive your questions, comments and suggestions, and then the presenters will respond to the question. So Sri, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry because here is really hard rain. So I have a big background sound. Hopefully it doesn't matter. So today I would like to start my presentation. I will going to share the screen with you. Hopefully it works. Is it visible now?
Yes, it's working.
Rena. Session anta sare.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Session anta session anta.
Hang on. I think I have to switch it off to the other one. So hopefully it is visible.
Yes.
Okay, today I would like to talk about the challenges to peace technology in shaping democracy. As you may know already that actually this is start when I used to be the election commissioner of Southwest Indonesia, and then so therefore this time it is very challenging time for me to talk about the challenges to this technology in shaping democracy. So as introduction, actually international idea reported from 21st February to 28 June 2020 that there are 67 countries postponing election due to COVID pandemic, and then they have 39 countries still hosting the election. And this is why I think the topic today for this IPRA conference is very much related to it. And in this paper, I would like to analyze whether we can use IT for election during pandemic time. So using IT for election is not a simple one. If successful, then it can prevent the wider spread of COVID-19 pandemic. But if it is failed, then it leads to lowering trust and legitimacy. It also may lead to protest and unrest. Therefore, it needs some preparation from ranging from legal technology user readiness level, and also it needs a preliminary study and evaluation. So, as a big picture, we have to host election because of as democratic country, election is being part of how we could implement democracy. And in Indonesia, actually, last year in 9th of December, we just have the local election conducted in 270 region. What I'm concerned is during COVID pandemic, there is a hidden tendency of, having money politics because of they are using pandemic victims, or they give away the social, social aid, and therefore I am also concerning that there is people to steal the election because of they are trying to not to implement election in a good way, but they are trying to do election for their own sake of interest. So election actually mostly are procedurals, and we have to have a legal standing. Therefore, international idea also IFES actually social distribute a kind of system in which we have to adhere all of the system and steps towards implementing election. This is the pictures where in around the world they also still have election during COVID-19, and there are slight changing in policy. In this case, as you can see from the picture up above, is the queue. When people have to go to cast the ballot, they have to maintain distance, quite distance. It is different from daily activities, daily election during a non-pandemic situation. Usually people are queuing in a very crowded way. Sometimes they have no distance at all. And during the pandemic, the General Election Commissions, the electoral management body has to sterilize the polling places. Therefore, they sometimes they have to spread to put disinfectant spray towards the polling places. As I said earlier on, in Indonesia, last December, we used to conduct election in 270 region. This is the local election that was on last December in Indonesia. Therefore, amongst of the 39 countries that have conducted election during pandemic, COVID pandemic, according to International Idea report, Indonesia is one of them. We only postponing the timetable. We supposed to have it on the 23rd of September. Then later on we postpone it to 9 December. We do hope that on the 9th of December the situation is can be handled, and hopefully at that time we could have it, we could have lower cases. However, uh, I can tell you later on. Challenges in shaping democracy is the reason why some countries still having election, though they are in pandemic time. The challenges in shaping democracy actually to protect the political rights of the people. On the other hand, to protect the safety of the people during pandemic, and this paper also concern how to adjust with the development of technology 4.0. So the situations of COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia in 2020, and pro contra for hosting the election are actually existing. The daily cases in 2020 here in Indonesia, we have daily cases that remain high, and although we are having social distancing, limitations of people mobility, and other policies that implemented, such as to have social distancing, to wash the hand frequently, also to wear mask, face mask if you are outside the house, but still the daily cases remain high. The policies that implemented in Indonesia, we have no lockdown policy. So like unlike others country who has lockdown policy, we only partially lockdown. What we can say with partially lockdown is you still can go anywhere, but you have to maintain the distance when you are queuing or when you are in public space. You have to wear a mask all the time. So you also have to wash your hand frequently, or putting the hand sanitizer all the time. We also implement a rapid test, PCR test, and recently, last month, we have to have a rapid antigen test. So we do no longer having a rapid test anymore because rapid test is said that the effectivity is only about 20 up to 30%, while rapid antigen test, the effectivity of this antigen test is up to 90%. Therefore, now we're changing from a rapid test to rapid antigen test. The rapid test previously is the rapid antibody test. So when you have tested, then someone, I mean doctor or the uh, the health officer will going to take your blood. But with rapid antigen test, it's just like the PCR test using swab. So they inquiring uh, uh, something from your ear, your nose. So basically like a swab test. So according to the current situation, we do know that there are a lot of development in terms of technology from industry 1.0 until industry 4.0. I think some of countries already implementing industry 5.0. Though in this case, I would like to only give concern that in Indonesia we have industry 4.0. So because of the industry 4.0, therefore our president said that there is the urgency to digital transformation 4.0 by having and using many possible ways to transform our daily lives into 4.0. Challenges to General Election Commission in implementing election during the time of COVID pandemic in one hand, and on the other hand, we have to aware of the development of technology 4.0. Therefore, I think on the left-hand side, I just put some list that have to be covered by General Election Commission. According to my analysis, the General Election Commission need a roadmap towards the General Election Commission's IT. In this case, the roadmap should include the technology readiness level, in which it inquires the infrastructure evaluation and evaluations of the IT system. It's also includes human resources readiness level, where it is analyzing the General Election Commission and Secretariat capability in providing human resources for operating the IT. And it should be interconnectivity roadmap with other data set, because in implementing election, we have to have coordination with other ministries as well. Like, for example, we have to have coordination with the Ministry of Home Affairs and also with Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So there is a national priority in which the government of Indonesia trying to have 10 strategic national priority to make Indonesia friendly with industrial revolution 4.0. I do not want to put concern on this. I think later on I can just say it throughout the presentation. So in terms of infrastructure evaluation, in this case, the General Election Commission has to have the evaluating the DRC, or Disaster Recovery Center capacity. In DRC capacity evaluation, we have to have forensic analysis of the infrastructure, DRC centralization to provincial level, and also we have to conduct analysis on data network capacity, where the reliability of the network, the operation room, the data center, data security has also to be analyzed. And we also have to have a capability of the system analysis. So on the right hand side, this is the DRC, the imaging of DRC in the General Election Commission, and also the operation room, the data center room, and on the corner right down is the overseeing the operation room of our data center in the General Election Commission. So evaluations of the system, it include, as you may know already, that in Indonesia, we actually have implementing some system to help the General Election Commission to implement the election. We have CIPOL, System of Information for Political Parties. We have CILON, System of Information and Candidates Database. We have System for Information for Voter Registration. And we, in this case, as I said also earlier on, that we have to have interconnectivity with data from MOHA, and we supposed to have a data sharing agreement with Ministry of Home Affairs, and we have to conduct updating process. The updating process takes time, and it is all stipulated by the law. And the evaluations of the system, we also have to evaluate the system of information for votes counting, in which we have to we have to give a lot of analysis on how manual versus systemic votes of counting votes, and then we have also to think about legal consequences, and we have to think about the field process that it carry on during the time when we have to go with the system for information for votes counting, in which in this case we used to have SMS gateway, we have to have scanning system, and recently we have CRECAP. CRECAP is the system for information for votes recapitulation. So this is all the system that implemented by General Election Commission. And then in preparing human resources, we have to see the structure and authority in the secretariat. In this case, we also needed assessment and have structured and periodic training. We have decentralized in IT human resource recruitment and upgrade of the capacity. This is all that we have to really have to know and have to cover. And for interconnectivity, as I said earlier, we do need data sharing system, continuous data updating, and backup of the system. In this case, I used to mention that we have interconnectivity and data sharing agreement with Ministry of Home Affairs because we actually have the voter list registration coming from the data submitted by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Therefore, we have to have a data sharing agreements, and we have also to have continuous data updating and backups. In terms of other country experiences, as I said earlier on, there are 39 countries who are still hosting election during pandemic. I will going to really speed on this actually, just to give you kind of idea that in South Korea, they still having election during pandemic. They are wearing masks, gloves. They have to have body temperature check, and they have to have hand sanitizer. They can use postal or absentee voting, but in Indonesia, we do not have this system. In South Korea, they have 14,330 polling places. They also distribute code of conduct, in which in the public space, they have also in the polling place, they have to maintain the distance. look at the top left of the picture, they maintain the distance of polling place level. So 1.5 meters away, and also they have to have gloves, the disposable one. So when they enter the polling place, they will get gloves, the disposable one. After they use for casting the ballot, then they have to put the disposable gloves into rubbish bin. On the left hand side down, it is the primary election in the USA. People are queuing in front of the polling places, and though later on there are a lot of last week actually they have riots in front of the Capitol building, but during the primary election, they do it conducting the election during pandemic with health protocol anyway. So the country's experience that I would like to mention in Israel, they have election in on the 4th of March 2020. They fully covered costume. We call it hazmat, and all equipments are with plastic cover. In France, for Paris municipality, for Paris city, they conduct election on the 15th of March 2020. They implement partial lockdown for non-essential gathering, not more than 100 persons, allowing proxy voting. If someone is in hospital or elderly, they will be visited by the officers, and then they maintain 1 meters away distance, using their own pen, disinfectant spray, mask, wearing mask and washing hand, waiting line for voters. Voter turnout lower from in 2014, they have a higher voter turnout, in which in this case 63.5%, while this election in 2020 during pandemic, the voter turnout becoming 46% only. So they decide to delay the second round and extending the council members and mayors in Paris. In Moldova, they have also conducting the election on 15th of March. They have regulation that gathering maximum of 50%, disinfectant sprayed of the polling places, and they have health emergency facilities installed in polling places. Other country experience, I can say in Germany, they have 15th of March election. Officers are wearing gloves, voters bringing their own pen. Second round is conducted by postal voting. And in Australia, for Queensland local election, they have it on 29th of March 2020. Voting, to be honest, in Australia, voting is compulsory, or they have to get fines $133. Maybe we can check later on with Helen. If you are imposed of violation, no amendment of the regulation, less than 100 people inside the building, publish the list of COVID protection measures. They have to have hand sanitizer, cleaning of the polling places, distance 1.5 meters away, no physical distributions of material, urge for early voting. So they implement early voting system, so you can casting the ballot from 16 to 27th of March, bringing your own pen, and they also have additional officers. So what are the solution can be done by peace technology? In my opinion, we have to have a look at legal standing, in which it has to be a provisions of legal justification. IT roadmap, we have to have a provisions of IT roadmap for election, and we have to have accountable IT in terms of planning, implementation, and evaluation. Piece of technology solution, I can say that in this case, we could have e-counting or e-recap. So the reason why we have it is quick process. E-voting, we will going to have least human resources and it is quick. But internet voting, we still put it into our discourse. For having internet voting, we have to have a legal standing, we have to have a technology and user readiness level. This is all that I have to present for this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sri, for your wonderful presentation. I think we'll also list some question here in chat. You can also write questions in chat, so we'll take that later. So we'll go to another presentation by Nar Bahadur Saud, Nepal. So floor is yours, Nar Bahadur.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, and once again, everyone. Uh, this presentation is also related with the use of technology in performing arts. That is an approach for the peace and justice promotion in Nepal. So actually, giving you the short brief background of this paper, then professionally, I have been working as a project implementer in especially after 2015. So I have been working at how art can be contributing to the in the community and to solving the problem, to minimizing the problem related with social discrimination. And then particularly we worked in the reconciliation between the ex-combatant of Maoist at that time and then the community people. So based on that perspective, we have been working to promote the social cohesion between the different community members. So that need to be implemented in the community. But when this pandemic, COVID-19 started in the early 2020 in Nepal, uh, so that there was a situation like complete lockdown in the country and then the no mobility for I think more than 5-6 months the people stayed inside the home, and then the people obeyed the government restriction and then their orders very honestly. So it was not assumed that the pandemic would go for a long time. Nearly it went still it's going on, but there are some limitation as well. But those people who were working in community, then it has been long time. So we thought as a project implementer, then we decided it is possibility to implement the uh, theater activities by using the technology, because the most of the people have started using technology as a means of their working from home. And then so the especially the theater actors and the community people were not thought about either it is possible to connect with them or not. So we tried to apply some of the uh, technological tool to implement the activity, and this is the base of the this paper. And I thought I have been frequently this attempt to write some the academic, and I would say it's not completely may not be following the some theoretical basis, rather it will follow the uh, that what we have learned, and this is the experience of the project and some of the activities that we applied during the pandemic. This is just simply the mic presentation is the research contest, and then the research question, methodology, results, and discussion. Simply talks about this one. Uh, uh, like in context of Nepali community, that the people from the different parts of the country, they use different kinds of performing arts as per their need and as per their ways and as per their contest. Different during the different festivals, they use different kinds of theater, this art-based activities like theater, song, music, painting. There are many others. So this is also used to strengthening to democratization process and the community relationship building process by the different local and then the national level NGOs, the community level activists, and then even in the community groups. They use mostly after the restoration of democracy in 1990s in Nepal. So the development agency often prefer to apply the theater and then the performing art forms to aware the community people and then build a relationship, positive relationship in the communities. That's as I already said, and this COVID-19 pandemic has created the different platform, different difficulties for the people, and then based on that time, this it was the assumption that this digital platform could reconnect the people. It the way to promote harmony, social cohesion, and human values in the community or not. So in this context, then we form one of the group of artists, and then we try to connect with the community people from the different parts of country, and then this paper particularly focuses on the theater, playback theater, and then the other theatrical performances, not other, including songs and music. So this paper basically tries to find out the answer of these two questions: how often the use of digital technology contribute to the performing art as a new trend in Nepal to promote the peace and justice, and to what extent the performing arts are available to attract audiences, to sensitize them on the peace and justice issue through the digital platform. We were not aware, sure that the people will entertain or either they will be able to use it, because in context of Nepal, the technology is mostly centered into the city areas, urban areas, and then these days many people have started to use the phones, and they use this data by the telephone, and sometimes they have been using the social medias for their entertainment and then connecting with the friends and relatives, but not these kinds of performances are not done ever. So it was really challenging for us as well. So we try to test the methodology applied for this presentation, this paper is this is purely the qualitative resource design in the postmodern data collection tools, like it's inspired by the Patricia Levy's book called Arts for Art-Based Method, what we could do based on the community, but this has adopted the theater one, and then the application of the empirical engagement of researcher, and then the review, because since 2015 I have been directly indirectly engaged in these kinds of activities, and I have also reflected my experiences as well. So basically during this pandemic time, we organize and then as a researcher I participated more than around 10 virtual theater show. That means it includes the theaters and then the play and then the playback theater. So in playback theater, uh, uh, audiences or the participants, they share their stories on the spot, and there is the actors, team of actors. They perform that story on the spot without any uh, discussion, and they come to improvise the story in a way that is adopted in a certain form. There are different form of presentation under the playback theater, and they follow which form is suitable for the story, and then they instantly start to perform after listening the story of storytellers. And in case of play, then we produced one play based on the different four themes that were related with the domestic violence, and especially women, peace, and security agendas. And later, the audiences were invited to join from the different part of the country, and then they actively watched the performances, and later they participated in the discussion. So the their discussion information were also gathered for the analysis of one, and then the informal discussion with the storytellers and the participant during and after the performances as well. So based on these four criteria, this the paper is developed. And the results were gathered. They are based on the perception and then some of the secondary. Uh, as we thought, it would be very difficult for the people who have never watched the platform in digital platform. But, in the initially, there were some technical. The people were not so updated with the using the technology. Really, when we tried to give some of the guidance before starting the show, so it made very easier for them. And then we come to know that the digital platform for theater was liked and well attended by the audiences. So there were the limited number of people were invited in the performances, and the limited stories were asked to share. But we were never said that there is no people to share their story, no people in the participant in the performances. Almost we estimated around 50 people, and they were attended, and then they stayed full time. And also was their what they actually that was the time most of the people were inside the home, and then they didn't have much work to work, and then a lot of psychological pressure for them. Even it was very hard time for passing the time inside the home, especially in the city areas. And at that time, if they get chance to share their stories and what they are feeling at that contemporary time, and also uh, they could also listen the story of other people and how they have been passing time. So this is also very good platform for the know the political what kinds of the development is going on the other part countries, even though it was the time of social distancing, so they could come to know about the external perspective by sitting inside their home. It connected with the other people beyond the family and then the loved one. So it was also good platform to be connected with the many people in one platform. Then I found they engaged and they liked the way they were connected, and also it was the voluntary, it was not mandatory at all. And then this if they wish to join, if they wish to share their stories, and they could do it. That was the as an organizer we need to share, and this is the ethical like we discussed about the safeguarding. If they wish, they can voluntarily participate and then share their stories. If not, they are free to listen and then uh, the in the uh, performances that was well attended. And it was it also it was also supportive to increase literacy. Obviously it is not necessary that everybody could be familiar with the technology, and gradually it's a process. And being very familiar with the digital literacy is also the part of human right, and then the justice promotion in the community. That is also one of the good positive result of that activity. Uh, lastly, it would be I assume that we didn't do any field surveys and other, but it is based on their interaction and discussion. And most of them, they say that the virtual theater events were possible. That is one of the good conclusion can be drawn, that then even during the pandemic, even during the difficult times, it is not necessary that we will be physically there to present the theater activities. And even inside the digital platform, the promoting theater activities and promoting human right values and awareing people, it's also possible. That is one of the conclusion can be drawn from this study. And storytelling in the virtual platform has been common platform. It's likewise it has been in the common in the when we physically present in the community. Uh, it was not much difficult for the storytellers who were interested to share their stories. They did it definitely, but definitely there were the challenges when uh, we're in the presence in the field, and we will be able to control some emotional aspect of the storytellers and participant, but it was not really possible when we were doing in the uh, online. So that the great challenges that we felt. Uh,
So,
in general,
can it speak
resulted
now?
positive and constructive feeling of healing and promoting the empathy after sharing the participants. And ultimately, we believe that sharing, caring, and their feelings, and then trying to understanding each other, promoting empathy during the time of difficulties also supported them to uh, some social and then the cultural values, get them connected. This is what this paper want to argues. Uh, this is most, and these are some of the pictures how we did it. The play was broadcasted, aired by the digital platform in Kathmandu, and then we were in Kathmandu, and then the actors were in Kathmandu, and then the audiences were from the different part of the country. And then we tried to connect with the member of parliamentarians as well, and then the human rights activists and different people from them, and at least they come to know the different perspective of the audiences as well. uh, this is what. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Nar Bahadur ji. So for your presentation, it's very wonderful to have two presentation. I think we'll collect responses and also suggestions from the participants uh, about two presentation. Before that, Dr. Sudhir has some announcement. So I would like to pass him to tell something.
Yeah, thank you. This is for the participant of Peace Theory and Peace History Commission. I'm Professor Dr. Sudhi Hinduan from India. Actually, my video is not working properly, so I'm really thankful to Rajab for the kind of initiative he has taken. So kindly, send in your papers to me and the email which will be provided to you shortly. Uh, all the papers, and so that we can get connected tomorrow also. I don't know how many participants are there for Peace Theory and Peace History Commissions. So that was a little announcement we had to make, and then tomorrow we'll connect for again further participation. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful presentation.
Thank you. So now we would like to hear the questions, comments, anything. Professor Chayo, Helen.
Hello, Professor Vidya.
Also Professor Vidya, yeah, she's here. Welcome to our commission, Professor Vidya.
So
Hello,
Rajib,
Rajiv and Shri Nuryanti. Hello. I just came to
hello.
see the beautiful faces and beautiful smiles of you.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. You look also great. I saw your presentation in the other session, but I cannot join for that long period of time because me and Rajib were the convener of this session.
Yeah.
Rajib, can I respond to your question,
Yes,
please?
yes, sure.
Okay. You have a question, and I will going to respond that by saying that yes, legal standing is very important. In this case, in Indonesia, is very how to say, everything should have a legal standing. If there is no legal standing, that we cannot operate anything. So basically, what it is stated at in our legal law, in the election law, in political party laws, then we have to comply with that. We cannot go beyond that. Therefore, I think legal standing is very important. And due to COVID-19, we have a lot of sudden changing in terms of legal standing, because when we decide to have to host the local election on the 9th of December last year, we actually has to rely on presidential bill. So there is a presidential instruction to have the election during pandemic. Then this is the legal standing that we have to also comply with. Other than that, we have legal standing. I mean, the law for having election, the law for contestation, and the law for political parties. Therefore, legal standing is one component that we comply with. The other one on legal status of technology, all in my opinion, because I'm putting the Indonesian case as the example. So technology, the legal status of technology in democracy in Indonesian case is only helper or the tools to help the implement the democracy. Unlike what is implementing in India, when you have e-voting system, you have automatization, how to say, law on automatization. Then in India, the status of technology in democracy is really the tool to implement democracy. But in Indonesian case, it's only the to help. We are not compulsorily using the technology, because the law stated that we only able to implement election with technology if we feel that there are readiness level in and also there are capacity in our election commission. Trust of the party is very some parties, if they are standing for the government, then if they are part of the government coalition, then they are agree with whatever are choosing by the local government, or by whatever policies that chosen by the General Election Commission. However, to some parties who are opposite of the government, they are not in the government coalition, then they usually not trust whatever it is implemented by the General Election Commission. On transparency, it is transparent anyway, because all the time the General Election Commission put it online, and it is in the real time. Therefore, it is transparent, and reliability is already been tested by many institutions, by the Ministry of Technology, and by groups of people from universities. They testing the reliability of the system implemented by the General Election Commission. So there is no doubt at all for the reliability. And I think in this case, the General Election Commission has to convince that the technology that they are using is free from any interest, because the General Election Commission has to maintain their independency from any influence from political parties. This is the task that always and have to be complied with by the General Election Commission. And to respond to Chrissy Laura Pinto, Dr. Chrissy Laura Pinto, I actually already put it in the chat, and I will going to respond to her later on. But the role of technology during pandemic in Indonesia is quite high because of the government actually implement and disseminate all policies through technology. So the government implement working from home for most of the government offices, and by that time all are done through technology. So technology is replacing some manual administration and processes. So by this time, the government actually really shift to industrial revolution 4.0. So that's all that I have to respond. And I think later on I will connect with my mobile phone because I have to go to the hospital.
Thank you. Thank you. Chayo, do you have?
But it's very nice to see you all, Helen, Dr. Professor Vidya, Nar, and also Dr. Sudir Hinwan, Cahyo, and also Rajib. Later on, if I disconnect with this laptop, then I will connect through my mobile phone anyway, so I can still listening. Thank you.
Chayo.
I have a small question.
Okay.
This is for Nar Bahadur Saud. It was good presentation so far as search for identity is concerned. I just would like to ask him what is his new take on the recent situation which has developed in Nepal. About that, is it a threat to democracy? Nar Bahadur.
You're talking about election, recent election?
Yeah. And that the kind of a quagmire which has been created recently. So, like, what's your take about the institutions and their relationship in Nepal? Just like that, I'm asking if you don't wish to answer. It's all your take.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought,
probably you understanding what I want to ask you.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So if you want to get some idea about some of the updates in Nepal, especially after the dissolution of the
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
of the House of Representative, it's really as a peace builders, it's really unfortunate for us. It's most of the Nepalese people have a long, very strong mind. It means the thought that this is the after a long time the Nepalese people have got one of the sustainable government, especially after having different movement in Nepal. We were thinking that at least this government would run for the 5 years, and then there could be some of the political stability, and then the at least basis for the democratic strengthening and the human value will be preserved. But unfortunately, this couldn't happen. And then again, the Nepal is in on the uh, it is a long way, and we don't know where the country will move on. But there are the two situation right on in the country, and one there is a Supreme Court which is hearing the case against that the dissolution is illegal or legal. It probably within few 1-2 weeks, then the verdicts will come from the Supreme Court, and then the way will be clear. Either there will be election or not. The government is determined to conduct the election in the coming after 2-3 months. They have already declared, but it is not looking at the reality. It is not possible because within I think it's already 4 months. It is not possible to prepare for the election. that this is technically this is difficult, but the current government is enforcing that they are willing to do it. But most of the people believe that they declared the election not to conduct the election, rather they wanted to be more strong, make their position strong. So still it is a dilemma, but most of the people are not happy with the decision. We are also in the situation of the wait and see what would be the situation after that.
Okay, good enough. Good enough. Thank you.
Maybe Rajiv also could share his idea on that. He
No,
could
Rajiv,
sharing on it more.
Rajiv is a great man. He's got a lot of ideas, always full of ideas and all that. Thank you very much. It was good presentation.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
I think we will give some time for other people if they have any questions. Then maybe we can come back to also this.
This is Helen here. How do the people get to know that there is going to be an online theatre presentation in Nepal?
So actually, we organize the theater by informing them, because we use the social media, definitely social media platform for sharing. Initially, we plan when we are going to organize the theater show, and then we target some of the people, particularly from which region we are asking for them, and then we go to invite them. We are doing such kinds of program, and the issue will be this kinds of activities, and we will do that. And we use social media, we use our own connection, we use phone, and then we request them to be invited for the participation, and then for a certain day, a certain time, then the people come to the platform and they share their stories, and we organize the theater in a way.
So do you know, I mean, do several people watch one phone, or how does it work?
Yes, definitely. I don't know the exact reason behind it, but we have estimation. Definitely in playback theater, we have targeted not more than 50 people, because we won't be able to give the more than spaces to speak, to share their story to them. So even 20 people, even 30 people, it's fine, because the storyteller, there will be only 4-5 stories will be shared in the story, and then that's enough. And in terms of the theater show, then we targeted more than 300-400 peoples. So this is the target. Normally, these are sometimes sponsored program as well by some agencies, development agencies, and so they have a one target. So we prepare to invite the similar kinds of number for the show.
Thank you very much for those explanations.
Okay, nice to meet you once again. So I think you remember me or not, but we met in Thailand, Patani.
Yeah.
It's nice. Thank you. Thank you. So, if there is any question, I think we'll take other question. Otherwise, we will also slowly wrap up this, because after this also we have our another meeting session. So also we need some time for that also. So, yeah.
Rajiv, if you can kindly announce that about that email ID wherein the papers can be sent.
I think the Manish, Dr. Manish
Okay.
has coordinating that for that.
All right. Thank you.
I think Dr. Sudhir Hinwan has to be shared with the link, Rajiv.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get that link somewhere. That link is okay.
Hinwan@yahoo.com.
No, I am just posting the link somewhere in this. It is in YouTube. Oh no, it's in. I'll forward you that in your
WhatsApp you can. Oh, WhatsApp you can. Oh,
Yeah, I have done that.
okay. Okay.
So okay, then shall we
Okay.
start the session then now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you for a wonderful presentation and also being here in our commission. So we had a nice presentation. So I would like to conclude this session. See you tomorrow again for the sessions in the morning. Also in the afternoon, also we have another session, a special session on mainly on arts and performance for peace in the same this channel. So for
Okay.
Okay, thank